Hi everyone, I'm John and welcome to the Fit Life channel. Late last year, I posted a video on why the Sony Xperia PRO-I is still a great device to buy or keep in 2024. You have helped it become my #1 most viewed and commented video on my YouTube channel. This is something I greatly appreciate and shows me that there is a strong desire still out there for the Sony Xperia PRO-I. Also in that video, I mentioned that I would make another one that would go over the top 5 reasons why the Xperia PRO-I may not be a great device to buy or keep in 2024. I've been using the Xperia PRO-I on a daily basis for the past 20 months. This video will go over the top 5 negative issues that I've encountered frequently during that time period. Negative issues that have kept me wondering, Sony, what the heck were you thinking about? Let's go check out if those top 5 negative issues make it a bad idea to get the Sony Xperia PRO-I in 2024, or perhaps they're really nothing to worry about. Alright, so reason #1 why the Sony Xperia PRO-I may not be a great device to get in 2024 is its troubling side-mounted fingerprint sensor. The side-mounted fingerprint sensor rarely unlocks on the first attempt, and it usually takes me between 2 to 4 times before it finally does. When I owned the Sony Xperia 1 and Xperia 1 III, one of the big problems with those was the side-mounted fingerprint sensor. To still have issues with it on the Sony Xperia PRO-I is extremely frustrating. A $1,800 US smartphone with a fingerprint sensor that only worked for about a year, then decides to just stop working, and I've tried numerous fixes and I haven't been able to get it to work again. So how do I get around this frustrating issue? Well, I had to regress back to the old school way of using a PIN code to unlock my phone every single time. But hey, have to look at it in a positive way. At least my arms and forearms are getting a workout at least 50 times a day trying to unlock my phone. All right, so reason #2 why the Sony Xperia PRO-I may not be such a great device to get in 2024 are its faulty ports, such as the USB-C connector and the headphone jack. One of the advantages the Sony Xperia PRO-I has over other smartphones is the ability to use external microphones to record audio from the headphone jack. This offers superior audio recording quality compared to the onboard mics. However, after 8 months of owning it, the headphone jack started to give me some issues. This is a microphone test of the Rode video mic and the Sony Xperia PRO-I. As you can see here, the microphone levels for the Sony Xperia PRO-I is not moving, even though I am speaking into the Rode video mic here. Look what happened to the audio meters when I spin the jack for the SmartLab Plus. Oh great, overheating warning, not even 2 minutes into trying to record this clip. Now this isn't just an issue with external microphones, but also with my Sony WH-1000 XM3 headphones. Whenever I want to use it on my Sony Xperia PRO-I using the headphone cable, I am getting the same issue. Either I get distorted audio, I have to play around with the input jack to clean it up in order to get clear audio.
It's 7:18 a.m.
So what do I do about the unreliable headphone jack? Well, when it comes to listening to music, instead of using wired headphones, I have to go with wireless earbuds. I'm sorry, Sony, but I've had too many issues using these. I've had none using these JBLs with my Sony Xperia PRO-I. And if I want to record external audio, I don't have any options. I just have to stick with the onboard microphones. Another port that has a stress-inducing issue is the USB-C connector here. I started having issues with it about 8 months into owning the Sony Xperia PRO-I. When I insert the USB-C cable to either charge the phone or transfer files from it to a computer, it feels very loose. Even a slight movement to the cable or the Xperia PRO-I can stop the charging and file transfers. I have lost numerous pictures and videos during file transfers because of this nagging issue. So how did I get around this troublesome USB-C port? From the Sony Xperia PRO-I to my computer, I just put it in airplane mode to avoid any notifications that could cause some movement and disturb the cable. So what about trying to charge it? Well, it's like playing a slot machine. You just have to keep pulling that handle and maybe you might win something. I will just keep reinserting the USB-C cable and eventually it will find an angle where it will stay put and the phone might start charging. It's not really a great workaround, but it's better than having to submit it to Sony and who knows, maybe wait about 7 months to get it fixed. All right, it's a bit hot in my micro studio. It's 33 degrees Celsius. I'm surprised my Sony ZVE-10 is still recording. So let's go find a cooler spot and away from these bright lights so we can go on to reason number 3 why perhaps the Sony Xperia PRO-I is not a great idea to get in 2024. All right, so I'm out of my hot micro studio. There's a nice breeze going on. And for the next portion of this video, I'm gonna go ahead and put the Sony Xperia PRO-I on the DJI Osmo Mobile 3. This will give you a chance to see how it looks like when it's on a gimbal. Reason number 3, despite the Sony Xperia PRO-I costing $1,800 upon release, the front camera here is of subpar quality and reminds me of the ones you can find on budget smartphones. Even in good light, the image quality is soft and the colors are washed out. And when recording in low light, the detail is not very sharp and tends to appear a bit smudgy. And the worst part about this front camera is that it can't even record 4K. This one can only do FHD. So what if you record a lot of vlogs like myself for YouTube or other social media platforms? Are we stuck to just using this subpar front camera? Or is there another option with the Sony Xperia PRO-I? If I want better quality for my vlogs, I'm gonna have to use the rear camera system. Right now, this is the wide angle 24mm camera. The issue with recording from this camera from the rear is that I'm unable to see myself while I'm vlogging, so I don't know if I'm inside the shot properly. Also, I can't see the settings, so if the light changes or something else, I can't make adjustments right away. Sony does offer a vlog monitor so that you're able to see yourself when you're vlogging from the rear camera. But the issue with that is that it adds more weight and it may not be very quick to get your phone up and vlogging. I've only been recording for probably about 1 minute, 2 minutes. I'm already getting overheating warnings from the Sony Xperia PRO-I. I'm gonna have to finish this portion up real quick or the phone is gonna shut down. My goodness, it's just as hot outside as it is inside my micro studio. Let's see how long I can last inside here to go over reason number 4. And that reason is that you only get 2 years of operating system and security updates. The Sony Xperia PRO-I made it to Android 13 and the last security update I received from Sony was in November 2023. And that's been typical for Sony devices for a very long time. So for something like the Sony Xperia PRO-I to cost $1,800 upon release, it's gonna sting a little bit once those 2 years of updates suddenly stop. And something like my Note 20 Ultra is still receiving them. Personally, I'm not bothered by 2 years of operating system updates. Android 13 is plenty for what I use the Sony Xperia PRO-I for. And to resolve the issues of not receiving security updates anymore since November 2023, I just make sure that I keep my apps updated through the Google Play Store. And of course, don't open up suspicious files or emails. So the Sony Xperia PRO-I may not be the device for you, but if the rumors are true here in 2024, the Sony Xperia 1.6 is supposed to come out with at least 5 years of OS and security updates. So if you are a fan of Sony products, perhaps it's better just to wait for that one to come out. Alright, I think that's all I can take from this sauna that I'm in right now. Let's head back outside and go over reason number 5 on why the Sony Xperia PRO-I may not be such a great device to get in 2024. Alright, so reason number 5, the Xperia PRO-I can sometimes get a little too hot to handle. Whether it's inside my micro studio or outside in temperatures that are 30 degrees Celsius plus, the main 24mm camera will overheat quickly when recording video from the Video Pro app. This results in lower quality video and audio, will sometimes shut down Video Pro or even the phone itself. So when recording video, I would be lucky to get 1 to 5 minutes of recording time before getting numerous overheating warnings, and eventually the phone will shut down. When taking photos through the Photo Pro app, I can go about 1 to 2 minutes before it will freeze and I have to exit out, restart the app, and then I can start taking pictures again. So how do I deal with the hot 24mm camera when temperatures are 30 degrees Celsius plus? Most of the time I try to find a shaded area and out of direct sunlight. However, if I can't, I just keep the video recording brief, anywhere from 30 to 120 seconds. I also try to find breezy or even windy areas to keep the Xperia PRO-I cool when taking videos and pictures. Well, the battery on my Sony ZVE-10 died out and I have to switch over to the Sony Xperia PRO-I to finish off this segment. But the good news is that when I am using that 24mm camera in temperatures that are 27 degrees Celsius and below, I've never had an overheating issue or the Sony Xperia PRO-I shut down on me. So if you live in a hotter climate like myself, it may not be such a good idea to get the Sony Xperia PRO-I. Hopefully those top 5 reasons didn't disintegrate any optimism you may have had left to buy or keep the Sony Xperia PRO-I in 2024. Would you be willing to tolerate them if it happened to you? And are my solutions enough to make them tolerable? I would love to hear your thoughts about them, so please leave it in the comments section and let's get a discussion going. But despite those negative issues, the Sony Xperia PRO-I is still a great camera-first smartphone in 2024. It's one of the few smartphones with a large shutter button, has plenty of RAM and ROM storage, elegant aesthetics, and also a wonderful 4K display. And yes, it does have some uses despite what others might say about it. Plus, it's the first Sony smartphone with a main camera that could match or even beat its competitors when it came to image quality. And there probably will never be another smartphone like it with a sensor and processor from a digital camera anytime in the near future. Alright everyone, that's it for this video. Please tap that like button, subscribe if you haven't done so. And I'm thinking perhaps the next video for the Sony Xperia PRO-I, honorable mentions. Let me know if that's a great idea in the comment section. Until next time, stay safe, keep learning. I'll see you in the next video.